Assalamualaikum. My name is Shifa, and today I'm taking you through a story of crisis, adaptation and recovery. We will look at how Malaysia Airlines or MAS moved from one of the biggest shocks in aviation history, which is the COVID-19 pandemic, and how it adapted and evolved. We will draw from two academic pieces. First, a macro look at Malaysia's aviation sector transition by Zakaria et al. 2023, and the second one is a focus case study on mass survival during COVID by Ragulan et al. 2021. So, let's dive in. First, the failure moments. The aviation industry globally faced an unprecedented shock when COVID-19 hit. For MAS, the case study shows a dramatic drop in domestic seats booked from the 2018 baseline to Q1 2021. The number plunged drastically. According to the case study, the number of domestic seats booked was decreased due to the outbreak of COVID-19 at the beginning of April 2020. The article by Zakaria et al. Notes that Malaysian aviation companies had restrictions on travel between areas, causing the public to be unable to move at will and causing airlines' income to collapse. So, MAS was hit, which is the flights cancelled, demand evaporated, and massive cost pressures. That's the failure phase when the business model no longer worked under the pandemic conditions. Now, let's see how MAS adapted. Despite massive cancellations and collapsing demand, the airline quickly adjusted to match real passenger needs. MAS restructured operations by renegotiating costs, focused on core profitable routes, and collaborated with the government for wage support and financial aid. Using data-driven decisions, they monitored bookings to adjust capacity, diversified into cargo flights, and managed to cost reduce cash burn. Innovation also played a role with sustainable aviation fuel flights and an all-woman operated flight. Recovery faced challenges from new COVID waves, but this strategy moves show MAS agility, which is their learning from failure and evolving its business model for the new normal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we proceed to how the government and MAS recovered. Firstly, financial backup from the government. Malaysia Airlines (MAS) is a national flag carrier, and 90% of its capital is owned by the government, mostly through the government investment, which is Khazanah Nasional Berhad. This direct state ownership provided a reliable source of financial support and intervention during times of crisis. This government backing was critical, and the airline completed a major financial restructuring during the pandemic, which included a reduction in liabilities of over 15 billion ringgit. This massive financial overhaul was key to enabling the airline's long-term stability and improved likelihood of recovery as borders reopened. Secondly, reopening borders and allowing air travel with SOP. Beyond the balance sheet, the government's approach to the pandemic was vital. As COVID-19 cases stabilized, the government strategically allowed air travel to resume in late 2021 under the strict Standard Operating Procedure or SOP. This decision immediately began helping MAS rebuild passenger volume and revenue. For example, in the first quarter of 2021, the domestic seat bookings had decreased to a low of about 50,000 due to the earlier lockdowns. The reopening of borders was a direct intervention that helped reverse this trend. Next, we proceed to how the government and MAS recovered. Performance overview on how government action. First, financial backup from the government. The article that I found from internet, which is Malay Mail, Khazanah will give MAG an additional HRM645 billion to support the company during the transformation phase, which will last until 2025. And second, reopening borders and allowing air travel with SOP. For example, the graph that I attached in the slide is the statistics show the first quarter of 2021, which is January in 2021. This data shows that domestic seats booked had decreased to a low of 50,000 due to the pandemic outbreak in early April 2020. Now we proceed to how MAS recovered. Implementation of BPM. What is BPM? BPM is Business Process Management. The ultimate goal of the BPM tree is to manage the fruit, which symbolize process performance. This means the model helps MAS achieve the end result of effective business operation and critically financial stability. By consistently strengthening customer service, managing fleet and staff efficiently, and improving processes, MAS guarantee better effectiveness and economy, moving the airline towards a sustainable future. Now we proceed to the launch of Firefly jet operation. Secondly, the introduction of Firefly narrow-body jet services was a strategic move. This jet gave MAS another option to capture more customers in the regional and domestic market. Lesson from Malaysia Airlines after the pandemic. Firstly, strong government support is critical. MAS survived largely because of strong backup from the Malaysian government as the majority shareholder. Due to its high level of government capital, specifically 90%, MAS could depend on the government for any difficulties it faced. Therefore, MAS completed financial restructuring, which resulted in its debt load being dramatically reduced and the company being recapitalized. This intervention provided the stability needed to continue operating during periods of global travel shutdown and uncertainty. Secondly, innovation in strategy and operations. The airline complemented this government support by showing remarkable adaptability. MAS quickly adapted to changing market conditions by reducing unprofitable routes and shifting its focus toward domestic markets, where demand remained more stable. Additionally, it updated its stock arrangement to better meet market demand and operational requirements, guarantee effectiveness and economy. For example, in terms of market strategy, the airline saw an opportunity in cutting unprofitable routes and reducing its employee count from 20,000 to 14,000. These strategic cuts were vital for efficiency and cost control, solidifying its path toward recovery. Now we proceed to conclusion. During the COVID-19 pandemic, MAS faced several financial challenges, including lost passengers, massive refunds, and global travel shutdowns. However, the airline shows strong resilience and strategic adaptation through government backup support. Major financial restructuring, fleet optimization, improving operation using BPM, and new marketing and pricing strategies, and a focus on customer service and digital system. As travel restriction is in late 2021, MAS began rebuilding operations, and its ability to restructure, innovate, and improve service quality positions the airline for long-term competitiveness in the post-pandemic aviation environment. Lastly, Malaysia Airlines' COVID-19 journey is a textbook case of how a major failure, a near collapse of demand, can become a turning point for strategic renewal. By combining government support, data-driven decision, and financial discipline, MAS is not just back in the sky. It is charting a new course.